For over 2 decades, AJ Styles has been one of the most popular names in the world of pro wrestling. But during the 2025 Crown Jewel press conference, AJ announced that 2026 would be his final year as an active competitor. The clock is ticking on one of the greatest careers in pro wrestling history, and the question on everyone's mind is simple. How does the phenomenal one go out? Who will his final opponent be? Will AJ Styles become world champion once again before he retires? As someone who's been a fan of AJ Styles since his days in the TNA X division and watched him dominate everywhere from TNA to New Japan to the WWE, this is how WWE can book the perfect AJ Styles retirement story. Buckle up and grab some popcorn because this story includes reunions, farewells, betrayals, and classic matches that'll remind everyone what made AJ Styles phenomenal in the first place. Our story starts on an episode of Raw in January 2026. AJ Styles just picked up a hard-fought victory against Rusev, and the crowd is on their feet as the phenomenal one soaks in the applause. But instead of celebrating and leaving, AJ grabs a microphone. The arena falls silent. AJ says that lately he's been thinking a lot about something. He says that he's done everything there is to do in this business. He's held every championship that matters. He's traveled the world and performed in front of millions. But now, there's something he needs to tell everyone. This is his last year. This is the last ride. 2026 will be the final chapter of AJ Styles' career. The announcement hits like a bomb. Some fans are chanting, "Thank you, AJ," while others are simply stunned into silence. But AJ isn't finished. He says that I'm not going out lying down. I'm not fading into the sunset. I want to prove one more time that I'm still the phenomenal one. I want to be on top one last time, and it starts at the Royal Rumble. The phenomenal one is going out on his own terms, and his journey to the top begins in less than 2 weeks at the Royal Rumble. But the question remains, can the 48-year-old veteran actually win the Royal Rumble and main event WrestleMania at this stage of his career? The answer arrives 2 weeks later. It's the night of the Royal Rumble, and the energy in the arena is absolutely electric. AJ enters at number 3 and makes it all the way to the Final 4. It's Braun Breaker, Dominic Mysterio, AJ Styles, and Roman Reigns. The crowd is on its feet as the 4 men circle each other. Roman and Braun immediately lock eyes and start throwing punches at each other. Meanwhile, Dominic tries to capitalize on the chaos and goes after AJ, but the veteran has seen every trick in the book. AJ dodges Dom's attack and connects with a devastating Pele kick that sends Dominic flying through the ropes to the outside. However, as Dom went through the middle rope instead of the top rope, he's still in the match. Dirty Dom crawls under the ring, hiding like the snake he is. Styles doesn't notice. His attention turns to the war happening between Roman and Braun. The two juggernauts are battering each other against the ropes, and that's when AJ sees his opening. The phenomenal one charges at both men and uses their momentum against them. With one fluid dropkick, AJ Styles eliminates both Roman Reigns and Braun Breaker at the same time. Braun and Roman are out of the match, but they continue brawling all the way up the ramp. Back in the ring, AJ thinks he's won, but not yet. Dominic Mysterio slides back into the ring with a sinister grin on his face. The crowd tries to warn AJ as Dom charges at him from behind. AJ is caught completely off guard as Dom grabs him and tries to throw him over the ropes. But AJ Styles didn't survive 2 decades in this business for nothing. The veteran fights back with everything he has left. Elbows to Dom's face, desperation in every movement. And finally, with one last burst of energy, AJ reverses Dom's momentum and sends Dirty Dom flying over the top rope to the floor. AJ Styles has done it. The phenomenal one has won the Royal Rumble. Confetti starts falling from the ceiling. His music hits. 20 years of grinding. His first Royal Rumble victory. AJ Styles points to the WrestleMania sign with tears in his eyes, knowing that his final journey to the grandest stage of them all has officially begun as he celebrates with his wife and kids in the ring. On the Raw after the Royal Rumble, AJ opens the show to a hero's welcome. The WWE Universe is on their feet and chanting his name as the Rumble winner grabs a microphone. AJ says that he hasn't slept since last night. He spent every waking hour thinking about this decision. This is his last shot. His last chance to prove that he's still phenomenal. His last chance to prove that he's still the best in the world. Styles pauses as the crowd hangs on every word. He looks around the crowd and then says he's calling out the best wrestler in WWE today. I'm challenging the World Heavyweight Champion CM Punk. The arena erupts as Punk's music hits. Punk and AJ stand face to face, 2 of the best wrestlers of the generation. Punk extends his hand and tells AJ, "Let's find out who the best in the world truly is." AJ shakes Punk's hand, and the match is made official. But this isn't a typical WrestleMania storyline built on hatred. This is a pure wrestling exhibition between 2 legends who may not like each other, but they respect each other. Over the next 2 months, the story writes itself. Punk and AJ begin picking opponents for each other to test their skills. AJ faces Chris Jericho Jericho in a battle of veterans that steals the show on Raw. Next week, Styles defeats his former partner, Dragon Lee, in a 20-minute classic. Meanwhile, Punk shows his versatility by beating Dominic Mysterio and Bronson Reed in back-to-back weeks. On the surface, WrestleMania is supposed to be a simple clash between two of the best wrestlers in the world. But for AJ, he knows this is his last chance at the world title. He knows this is his last opportunity to go out on top. He can't waste this shot. And finally, WrestleMania arrives. AJ Styles makes his final WrestleMania entrance. The Phenomenal One soaks in every single second as the crowd keeps chanting his name. Then CM Punk emerges with the World Heavyweight Championship, and the magnitude of this moment hits everyone watching. The bell rings. For the next 30 minutes, Styles and Punk put on an absolute masterclass. Counter after counter, submission attempts, near falls that have the crowd on their feet. AJ hits the Styles clash. Punk kicks out. Punk locks in the Anaconda Vice. Styles reaches the ropes. The phenomenal forearm connects. Somehow, Punk survives. The match goes back and forth with neither man able to put the other away. In the closing moments, AJ goes for another phenomenal forearm, but Punk accidentally shoves the referee against the ropes. The referee bumps against the ropes, and this causes AJ to miss the landing as Punk takes advantage and hits AJ with one final GTS to retain the World Heavyweight Championship. After the match, Punk watches the replay on the Titantron and realizes what just happened. Punk helps AJ to his feet and apologizes to the Phenomenal One. AJ looks hesitant, but finally shakes Punk's hand as the crowd gives both men a standing ovation. But this story is far from over. On the night after WrestleMania, Raw opens with CM Punk standing in the middle of the ring with the World Heavyweight Championship. Punk says that last night at WrestleMania, he defended his championship against one of the greatest wrestlers to ever live. Punk admits that AJ Styles pushed him to his absolute limit, and while he can't undo the ending of the match, he can give him another shot at the gold. So AJ, if you're watching this backstage, come out here. I'm offering you another opportunity. AJ's music hits. The Phenomenal One makes his way to the ring. AJ takes the microphone and looks Punk dead in the eyes. AJ says that he appreciates the admiration, but he's not the kind to accept handouts. If I'm going to get another shot at that championship, I'm going to earn it the right way. The crowd shows their respect for AJ's decision with a loud ovation, but before Punk can say another word, Braun Breaker's music hits. The man who conquered Roman Reigns at WrestleMania storms to the ring with fury in his eyes. Braun gets in AJ's face and says that he doesn't deserve another title shot. Braun says he's no longer the future, he's the present of this company. I'm everything this old man used to be, except better, stronger, and I don't need a sympathy tour to get what I want. You had your moment, old-timer. Now step aside and let the real deal take over. Braun's voice is dripping with disdain, but AJ doesn't back down. He steps nose to nose with the young powerhouse as Punk watches from the corner, and that's when Raw General Manager Adam Pearce comes out and makes it official. AJ Styles versus Braun Breaker. Best of 3 series starting right now. Winner faces CM Punk for the World Heavyweight Championship. The bell rings for match 1, and immediately Braun Breaker brings an intensity that catches AJ off guard. For 15 minutes, they go back and forth. Near the end, AJ sets up for the Styles clash, but as he lifts Braun up, Breaker knees AJ right in the eyes. AJ stumbles, blinded, and Braun capitalizes immediately with a devastating spear that nearly breaks the Phenomenal One in half. Braun Breaker steals match 1 with some underhanded tactics. AJ argues with the referee, but the decision stands. 1 week later, it's time for match 2 in the main event of Raw. The stakes couldn't be higher. If Braun wins, the series is over, and AJ's final chance at the championship disappears. The Phenomenal One comes out with fire in his eyes, determined to even the series. However, this time, the match stuns everyone into silence. There are no shortcuts, no eye rakes, no cheap tactics. For almost 20 minutes, Braun Breaker proves exactly why he's considered the next big thing in WWE. He matches AJ move for move. He systematically dismantles the former world champion. He counters the veteran's signature offense, and when AJ goes for the phenomenal forearm, Braun catches him out of midair with another thunderous spear. 3 seconds later, Braun Breaker has defeated AJ Styles clean in the middle of the ring. The series is over. The young lion stands over the fallen veteran as reality sets in for the WWE Universe. Maybe AJ Styles' time really has passed. Maybe the Phenomenal One can't compete at this level anymore. AJ lies in the ring, staring at the lights, as Braun celebrates his way up the ramp, mocking AJ's age and telling him to go home. The cameras capture the devastation on AJ's face. The crowd gives him a respectful ovation as he hobbles up the ramp. But AJ isn't done yet. Later that week, it's announced that AJ Styles has been entered into a SmackDown Gauntlet match to determine the #1 contender for the WWE Championship. AJ draws an early number and battles through his first opponent. AJ eliminates The Miz, then survives Solo Sikoa, But then Drew McIntyre enters the match. Drew takes one look at AJ and sees the opportunity. McIntyre hits not one, not two, but three Claymore kicks and eliminates AJ Styles from the gauntlet match. 2 devastating losses in 1 week. The writing is on the wall. Has AJ Styles' time in the ring finally come to an end? Is the retirement tour of the Phenomenal One coming to an early finish? The following Monday on Raw, AJ Styles makes his way to the ring with no music, no pyro, nothing. The crowd doesn't know how to react. They want to support him, but they can feel the weight of defeat hanging over the Phenomenal One. AJ tells the fans he doesn't really know what to say. When he won the Royal Rumble in January, he thought he still had it. He thought he had one more run at the top inside him. Maybe he could still compete with the best in the world, but maybe he was wrong. The crowd tries to encourage the Phenomenal One and start chanting his name, but AJ shakes his head. I couldn't beat CM Punk at WrestleMania. Braun Breaker beat me. Drew McIntyre eliminated me like I was nothing. Maybe I'm past my time. Maybe I don't have what it takes anymore. Maybe I'm just a 48-year-old man trying to relive past glory. AJ's voice cracks with emotion as the fans sit in silence. AJ says that I don't know when you'll see me next. I don't know what's next for AJ Styles. But I know one thing. I need to remember who I am and what made me the Phenomenal One in the first place. AJ drops the microphone and leaves the ring. And just like that, AJ Styles disappears from WWE television. 4 weeks pass. No AJ Styles sightings, no social media updates, nothing. The wrestling world continues to speculate. Did AJ retire early? Is he injured? Has the Phenomenal One wrestled his last match? But all the questions get answered in the most shocking way possible. In early May, TNA Wrestling presents Against All Odds in front of a packed house in Orlando, Florida. Nick Nemeth stands in the middle of the ring and issues an open challenge. The arena goes dark, and then a familiar theme song hits. AJ Styles emerges through the curtain, and the TNA fans lose their minds. This is where it all started for AJ. This is where he became a world champion for the first time. This is home. Nemeth's cocky smile fades as AJ steps through the ropes. The bell rings and something is different about AJ Styles. The hesitation is gone. The self-doubt has vanished. In this ring, in this company, AJ Styles isn't a veteran trying to hang on. He's the king returning to his kingdom. AJ hits the pelly kick, nails the phenomenal forearm, and finally connects with the Styles Clash to get the win. Over the next few weeks, AJ embarks on what can only be described as a redemption tour through TNA. He faces old rivals like Kazarian, James Storm, Eric Young, and even shares a moment with his biggest rival, Christopher Daniels. AJ Styles is winning again. More importantly, he's smiling again. The fire that seemed extinguished in WWE has reignited in TNA. But there's one story that becomes the centerpiece of his TNA return. Leon Slater, the 21-year-old high-flying sensation, the same wrestler whom AJ praised during his TNA return at Slammiversary, has been struggling with confidence despite his obvious talent. He's lost the X Division title. He's come up short in crucial moments. He lost a world title shot against the system's Eddie Edwards, who's been running roughshod on TNA with the numbers game on his side. And worst of all, he started doubting whether he belongs at the top level. Styles sees something familiar in the young wrestler. He sees himself 20 years ago, trying to prove he belonged among the elite. Over the next few weeks, AJ becomes Leon's mentor. He becomes the Rocky to Leon's Adonis Creed. He's in his corner for matches. He gives him advice. But more than anything, AJ helps Leon believe in himself again. The young high flyer starts winning. He starts building momentum. He starts looking like a future world champion. And then the announcement comes. At Slammiversary in June, Leon Slater will challenge Eddie Edwards for the TNA World Heavyweight Championship. It's the biggest match of Leon's career, and AJ Styles will be in his corner. Slammiversary arrives and the atmosphere is buzzing. For 25 minutes, Leon Slater puts on the performance of his life. Eddie Edwards is a grizzled veteran, but Leon matches him move for move. The system tries to interfere, but AJ Styles is there to cut them off. This is Leon's moment, and AJ is making sure nothing ruins it. In the closing moments, Eddie has Leon trapped in a submission hold. The young challenger is fading. The crowd is begging him not to tap out. And then, Leon's eyes find AJ at ringside. The Phenomenal One is pounding on the mat, willing his protege to fight back. And something changes in Leon's eyes. The self-doubt disappears. The fear vanishes. Leon fights out of the submission and hits a combination of moves that leaves Eddie Edwards stunned. He climbs to the top rope, looks at AJ one final time, and launches himself into the air with a breathtaking swanton splash. 3 seconds later, Leon Slater is the new TNA World Heavyweight Champion. At 21 years old, he's the youngest world champion in TNA history. Leon raises the championship high above his head, then points directly at AJ Styles and thanks him. The TNA locker room empties as wrestlers pour out to celebrate celebrate with their new champion. AJ tells Leon that this is his moment. He's passing him the torch of TNA, and he wants Leon to carry the company into the future. As the celebration continues, the entire TNA roster forms two lines, creating a pathway to the back. AJ Styles walks up the aisle as the TNA locker room is giving the Phenomenal One the send-off he deserves. AJ walks slowly between the two lines as every wrestler applauds and shows their respect. AJ turns one final time, looks at the ring where he became a star, raises his arms, and points to Leon holding the championship. The message is clear. The torch has been passed, and AJ Styles has found himself again. This is AJ's moment of redemption. This is the scene from The Dark Knight Returns where Bruce Wayne climbs out of the pit. But AJ Styles' story is not yet over. July arrives and WWE presents Money in the Bank. The card is stacked with big names. 7 competitors are announced for an 8-man ladder match, but there's one surprise that nobody sees coming. The crowd buzzes with anticipation for the final entrant. AJ Styles' music hits as the arena absolutely loses their minds at the return of the Phenomenal One. He's not the broken man who left 3 months ago. He's AJ Styles, and he's here to win. Towards the end, AJ and Braun Breaker battle it out on the top of the ladder. Braun unloads on AJ with vicious punches, but AJ isn't going down. AJ swings the briefcase as it strikes Braun straight in the face and sends him crashing through 2 ladders at ringside. AJ's experience wins out. AJ unhooks the briefcase, pulls it down, and AJ Styles is Mr. Money in the Bank. Pyro explodes, and AJ clutches the briefcase like it's the most important thing in the world. Because at 48 years old, this is his final chance. His last opportunity to become world champion one more time. And unlike most Money in the Bank winners, AJ isn't going to wait or play games. AJ comes out next night on Raw and announces that he's not going to cash in through some sneak attack. He's not jumping someone from behind after they've wrestled a match. That's not who he is, and that's not how this story ends. Saturday night's main event is coming to Georgia. My home state, my people, my family in the crowd. That's where I'm cashing in this briefcase. CM Punk, get ready, because the Phenomenal One is coming for that World Heavyweight Championship. AJ Styles makes his intentions clear. Styles versus Punk, the rematch from WrestleMania, but this time AJ isn't facing the same CM Punk he faced at Mania. Ever since retaining the title at Mania, the WWE Universe has started to see a different side of CM Punk. The man who showed respect to AJ at WrestleMania is slowly disappearing. The sly and cunning CM Punk, who terrorized SmackDown as a heel in the 2000s, is slowly taking over. 2 months ago at Night of Champions, Punk retained his championship against LA Knight, though Knight's foot was under the rope. Then at Money in the Bank, Punk retained against Chris Jericho by using the ropes as leverage during the pin. The commentators start questioning Punk's tactics. The fans begin to notice the shift, but Punk still believes he's right. He says he's the champion the WWE needs, and he's willing to go to any lengths to remain on top. However, during Punk's defense against Styles at Saturday night's main event, the best in the world finally shows his true colors. Saturday night's main event arrives in AJ's home state of Georgia. The building is packed with friends, family, and fans who have followed the Phenomenal One since his TNA days. The energy is unlike anything WWE has felt in years. This isn't just a championship match. This is AJ Styles' final chance at glory in front of the people who supported him from the very beginning. AJ makes his entrance to a deafening ovation. CM Punk comes out to a mix of cheers and boos. The bell rings, and for 20 minutes, AJ Styles and CM Punk put on another instant classic. AJ hits the Styles Clash. Punk kicks out at 2.5. Punk locks in the Anaconda Vice. AJ reaches the ropes at the last possible second. The phenomenal forearm connects flush. Somehow, Punk survives. Towards the end, AJ goes for another phenomenal forearm, but Punk moves out of the way and the referee eats the forearm instead. Punk takes advantage and nails AJ with a kick to head before rolling out of the ring and grabbing AJ's Money in the Bank briefcase. The crowd erupts with chants of no, but Punk's eyes have gone cold. He doesn't care about being right anymore. He simply wants to stay on top. Punk swings the briefcase with devastating force, striking AJ right in the head. The Phenomenal One crumples to the mat as Punk tosses the briefcase aside and covers AJ's broken body. The referee slowly crawls into position and counts to 3 as the wind is sucked out of the Georgia crowd. CM Punk retains the World Heavyweight Championship, but there are no celebrations, no pyro, just stunned silence throughout the arena as reality sets in. The heel turn is complete. Punk has sacrificed his integrity to keep the championship, and AJ Styles' dream of one final title reign has been destroyed. Punk grabs his championship and stands over AJ's unconscious body with absolutely no remorse on his face. He raises the belt high as the boos rain down from every corner of the arena, but the Phenomenal One isn't going to let his story end this way. The weeks following his title defense against Styles, CM Punk grows into a more ruthless and calculated villain. He even forms the Straight Edge Society 2.0 with Angelo Dawkins, Miles Bourne, and Charlie Dempsey as his disciples. The Straight Edge Society 2.0 immediately starts terrorizing the Raw roster, and Punk's title reign seems unstoppable. Punk successfully retains against Sami Zayn, with his disciples interfering at crucial moments. He overcomes Montez Ford after Dawkins takes out his former partner, and when officials try to stop the interference, the Society attacks them too. Punk is untouchable, protected by his followers who believe in his twisted vision. But during a championship defense against Dragon Lee, the Society takes it too far. After Punk retains using a low blow while the referee was distracted, the four men continue beating down Lee. The assault is vicious and unnecessary. Punk orders Charlie Dempsey to put Lee through a table. But as Dempsey sets up the table, a familiar music hits. AJ Styles storms to the ring, steel chair in hand, and goes to war with the Straight Edge Society. He clears the ring, helps his former tag partner up, and stands in the ring with rage in his eyes. The following week, AJ cuts a promo that shakes the wrestling world. AJ calls out Punk for stealing his moment in front of his people. He berates Punk for being a coward and hiding behind his disciples. AJ says that his business with Punk is far from over, and this doesn't end till he gets his revenge. Styles challenges Punk for a rematch for the World Heavyweight Championship at Summerslam, but Styles knows Punk won't give him a shot just like that. As an ultimate gamble, Styles puts his career on the line to get his match against Punk at SummerSlam. However, Punk isn't sold just yet. Punk says he knows Styles is hungry for revenge, and there's nothing Punk would love more than to be the one who finally puts down this hungry wolf. But before he can get his hands on Punk, Styles has to run the gauntlet and defeat his disciples to earn his match at SummerSlam. The following week, Raw's main event is the gauntlet match that will determine AJ Styles' fate. AJ finishes off Miles Bourne in 3 minutes. Then he survives Angelo Dawkins, and then out comes Charlie Dempsey, the final obstacle in AJ's way. However, before AJ versus Dempsey can begin, Dawkins and Bourne attack AJ from behind and put him through an announce table. Adam Pearce bans Dawkins and Bourne from the arena, but the damage is already done. Dempsey systematically destroys a broken down AJ for 20 minutes, but the Phenomenal One refuses to give up. In the final stretch, AJ nails Dempsey with a pelly kick out of nowhere and sets him up for the phenomenal forearm. But before AJ can strike, CM Punk attacks Styles from behind and the match ends in DQ. Punk viciously attacks Styles and chokes him out with the Anaconda Vice. Styles has got his match, but will he be in any shape to compete? The WWE Universe doesn't have to wait long for the answer, as the Phenomenal One's final ride arrives just 2 weeks later at SummerSlam. SummerSlam arrives in Minneapolis with over 70,000 fans packed into the building for WWE's biggest party of the summer. Throughout the show, video packages are played, highlighting AJ's phenomenal career that spans almost 3 decades. Stars like Seth Rollins, John Cena, Roman Reigns, and even Samoa Joe and Daniel Bryan show their respect for the Phenomenal One through video messages. Finn Balor approaches AJ backstage during the show as the two former Bullet Club leaders share a moment. But after all the highlights and feel-good moments, the main event is finally here. AJ Styles' career versus CM Punk's World Heavyweight Championship. AJ makes his entrance as the crowd showers him with admiration. There are tears in AJ's eyes as he walks out for what could be his very last match. The Phenomenal One soaks in every moment as the crowd keeps chanting his name. Then, CM Punk emerges with the Straight Edge Society, and the stadium erupts with boos. The bell rings, and AJ Styles and CM Punk go to war for the third and final time. This match is different from their previous encounters. There's hatred here. There's desperation. Every move means something, because for AJ, there's no tomorrow if he loses. Towards the end, AJ sets up Punk for a phenomenal forearm. But just like Mania, Punk tries to shove the referee into the ropes and make AJ miss his landing. However, this time, Styles is ready. AJ simply jumps on the apron and readjusts his positioning before nailing Punk with a vicious, phenomenal forearm. Styles then hits Punk with a Styles Clash. But as the ref counts to 2.5, Dawkins pulls him out of the ring. The ref is knocked down as the Straight Edge Society takes advantage of this chaos and attacks the Phenomenal One. However, AJ isn't alone. An ominous music hits as Gallows and Anderson march down the ramp to even the odds for their former Bullet Club leader. The Good Brothers go after Bourne and Dawkins, but they're still outnumbered. As the Straight Edge Society beats down Gallows and Anderson, the arena goes dark. A familiar music hits as the Demon King arrives with malice in his eyes. Finn enters the ring and attacks the Straight Edge Society with chair shots as the Good Brothers make it back to their feet. Bodies are flying everywhere outside the ring as the former Bullet Club compatriots neutralize Punk's disciple. Back in the ring, AJ slowly gets back on his feet, but Punk is waiting right behind him. Punk hoists AJ up and nails him him with the GTS, but AJ emphatically kicks out at one as the fans lose their mind. The Phenomenal One isn't going out so easy. AJ and Punk exchange blows in the middle of the ring, and AJ gets the upper hand with his signature offense. AJ sets up Punk once again for the Styles Clash, but Dempsey distracts the referee. Styles punches Dempsey right in the face, but taking advantage of this distraction, Bourne slides in a pair of brass knuckles towards Punk. As Styles turns back, Punk nails Styles flush in the face with the brass knuckles and throws it away before the ref can spot it. Punk hoists Styles up and nails him with one final GTS to retain the World Heavyweight Championship. AJ Styles' career is over. Punk escapes through the crowd with his henchmen as reality dawns upon the WWE universe. The music stops. The crowd falls silent. AJ Styles lies motionless in the middle of the ring. The crowd starts chanting his name. The Phenomenal One slowly and painfully gets to his feet as 70,000 people are on their feet showing respect for a man who gave them everything for 20 years. Gallows and Anderson slide back into the ring and embrace their brother. Finn Balor returns, hugging AJ as tears stream down both men's faces. One by one, wrestlers from the back come out to show their respect. Cody Rhodes, Randy Orton, LA Knight, even Drew McIntyre and Braun Breaker, men who defeated AJ earlier in the year, stand on the ramp applauding. AJ's family is brought into the ring, his wife, his kids. They embrace as the wrestling world watches one final moment. AJ raises his arms one last time as his theme music plays. The Phenomenal One takes one last look at the crowd, at the ring, at the business he loved for 2 decades. He points to the heavens, then to his heart, then to the crowd. AJ Styles walks out of a WWE ring for the final time. The career of AJ Styles is over, but the legend of the Phenomenal One will live forever.